Hello, Oracles. Another beautiful day here in San Diego. So we've got Tesla pulling down. They have filled that 864 gap, pulling down pretty hard, but the entire macro is pulling down. This is something that we had anticipated, seeing this pullback in the market because of the anticipation of a CPI and PPI number maybe coming in higher than expected. So we have seen this all year long, this uncertainty leading into these numbers, because again, last week we saw the hotter than expected jobs report. So the Fed, we've been seeing U-turns back and forth. Maybe the Fed's going to pause in September. Now with the jobs report, maybe they're going to go a little higher with interest rates again. So CPI tomorrow could really give us that indication of, is the Fed really going to be raising rates higher, or could we see a pause? So of course, because of those questions and the uncertainty that we have, the market is going to be selling off like we see today. People are just taking their money out, putting it on the sidelines and waiting to see what is going to happen, what numbers do we get, and then we will react accordingly when we get those numbers tomorrow. So we should be seeing those numbers at 8:30 a.m. for the CPI Eastern Time. And that'll let us know. So again, the expectations right now are 8.7% for the CPI, and we'll see what happens when that number comes out, which way the market moves. So now when it comes to Tesla specific, how do we trade off of this? Again, most of us are long-term investors, as Elon said at the shareholder meeting. If we see some one-off situations, it's a good time to have a buying opportunity. It's a great time to buy the dip. So the way I'm looking at this is I'm doing that. I've already added $10 at 8.53 today. I'm going to track it and see as we go over the course of the day. If we sell off more, I will be adding more. Now we do have those gaps down to 776 and 742 also. So we did fill that 864, but we have those other two gaps. Whether we fill those two over the next day or not, we shall see. I don't know. That's a big pullback leading into the next day. So that's a lot to go down in one day. But perhaps if we get a bad CPI reading, we sell off more to fill those gaps. But the way I look at it is, if we do end up getting that pullback, we have the split coming up. So this is the ideal situation I am looking for, is to get those gaps filled, to dump in a lot more cash at that 742 to 750 level, so that when we get to the split, I will have even more shares. Because don't forget, in the market we are in right now, it is all about accumulation, accumulating as many shares as you can when the prices are depressed in a market like this, so that you can have more when we split and the company grows massively, exponentially over the next decade. And we did get the Shanghai delivery numbers for July at just over 28,000. Now we expected this to be a little bit lower because the factory was shut down for 2 weeks for all that retooling and the upgrades. So now what you're going to end up seeing in the markets most likely is going to be some FUD numbers that come out and say Tesla's down 64% year over year. They're not doing as well as in June. So why are their numbers down so much? And they're not going to mention the fact that the factory was shut down for 2 weeks. Or if they do, it's going to be like a one sentence in their article, which nobody's going to read because so many people just follow the headlines and it drives me nuts. But again, if we end up getting a pullback because of this, another great buying opportunity, because we know that it was shut down for 2 weeks so they could upgrade. Because after this upgrade, they can actually produce more than they did before. I'm also hearing people saying, well, BYD outsold Tesla. Well, that's great that BYD outsold Tesla. But if you look back at Q1 numbers, because we don't have Q2 numbers for BYD yet, as far as I know, if we do, let me know in the comments. But based on Q1 numbers, Tesla had net income of $3.32 billion versus BYD's $120 million, despite the fact that BYD outsold Tesla overall for all of their vehicles. That includes hybrids and ICE vehicles. So BYD has profitability very similar to legacy auto. So we discussed it before, where GM needs to sell 7.5 vehicles for every one that Tesla sells to make the same profit. So with BYD, they need to sell about 30 to 50 times more vehicles to make the same profit as Tesla. So again, I don't know what Q2 numbers are, but I highly doubt that BYD made up that kind of ground in one quarter. So yes, BYD may have had a better month than Tesla because of the situations that we see going on, but we'll track this going forward to see how they go. And as I've always said before, I think it's a good thing that BYD is doing what they are doing. I think it's a good thing that all of these automotive makers are switching over to EVs, as it's driving up EV adoption. Now, we also got some EV adoption forecasts that came in as well. We are looking at a potential of a 12.6 EV adoption number for worldwide numbers coming for a Q4. That is the prediction as of right now. China is going to be leading the way with 22.9% EV adoption. We know this. Cindy Monroe has talked about it. Elon has said it himself. There's a lot of writing on the wall right now that China is leading this EV revolution. And when we get to the end of the decade, the competition is going to be China and Tesla and anyone else who can hang on. Next in line for the EV adoption is Europe with 16.1%, and then the US with the ironic 6.9% EV adoption rate by the end of this year. And the rest of the world is below that. So again, we are seeing EV adoption coming up here in the US. I think the EV tax credit is going to help that, but don't forget, with the EV tax credit coming in, demand is going to go higher and the production needs to grow rapidly in order to keep up with that, or else the EV adoption might wane a little bit just because of the fact that people can't produce it, and if people want vehicles but can't get it, they could get discouraged. So we'll see how this plays out by the end of the year. We have already talked yesterday about potential information with Tesla opening up a gigafactory in Canada. Sounds like they might have a lot that they are clearing up there. We do not have factual information or confirmation on this yet. Still waiting to hear more about that. I've got some connections up there trying to get a little more information for you guys on this. But even if they are just clearing a lot right now, still going to take time to break ground, build the factory, get that up and running, and then ramped. So I would say that probably by 2024, we might see production coming out of there at the earliest. But again, still a lot of more information that we need to get from this. And we also got some first half numbers out of California. Ironically, since I'm here, we got these numbers, and Model Y is the #1 selling vehicle and Model 3 is the #2 selling vehicle. Not just EVs, all vehicles here in California. Now, California is the largest market in the US, so this is obviously plainly seen. My son and I driving around, we see them everywhere. It's great to see, and I know this is going to trend elsewhere. We know Texas and Florida are growing as well. Those are the next two largest states that we're selling in. So this is going to continue to grow. I think this is a great sign for the future, and when we get this EV tax credit, again, could boost it. Hopefully Tesla can keep up with this production. So yes, the market is pulling back right now. As we anticipated, Tesla's pulling down. More great buying opportunities, in my opinion. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I mean, many of you agree that over the next decade, Tesla is going to be absolutely outstanding. So any opportunities we can get to buy a little bit lower, I will take advantage of those without a doubt. Elon has mentioned it himself. Kimball has said that he's very excited to see how Tesla is going to be over the next decade, and excited to see where his brother is going to take this. So great reasons to buy. Very excited about seeing this. So for me, I'm excited to see the market pulling back, excited to see these gaps get filled. I know some people don't follow technical analysis, but it is a small piece of what I track because it gives us good insights and indications as to the pulse of the market itself. So this is great to see. I'm excited about what's going on in the future. So many exciting catalysts coming up for Tesla. We've got AI Day 2 coming up at the end of September on September 30th. We are going to have potential investment grade rating upgrades for credit, and I'm anticipating a monster Q3 and Q4 for production and net income and free cash flow. And even with the EV tax credit, if people are pushing off deliveries until Q1 of next year like I am going to do, I still see a strong Q4 and an extremely strong Q1, which we normally don't see that way around. So we could potentially see that and kick off 2023 with a big bang. And I want to throw a quick shout out to Sophie. Thank you for going through. I had mentioned on here, there's a lot of bots that I just cannot keep up with. So if you guys get any messages from what looks like me to message you on WhatsApp, do not track those. Don't follow them. It is definitely not me. Definitely spot bots and spam. So thank you, Sophie, for cleaning up a lot of those. Much appreciated on that. And thank you all for your price targets for the end of the year. We do have a competition going on. Whoever is going to have the closest price target at the end of the year, which is December 30th, then I'm going to give out a t-shirt to whoever the winner is. Many of you are have the same numbers or are very close. So if we get very close, like within pennies or $1 of each other, I'm just going to give you guys all shirts because you're all so friggin' awesome. So very excited about this. So if you want to throw out your price target for the end of the year in the comments, go ahead and do that. And also let me know what you guys think we're going to be getting for CPI tomorrow, because again, that could swing the market one way or the other. Seems like we're getting a bit of a sell-off today as anticipated, but do you think we're going to get a surprise number and maybe run up? Or do you think that maybe we are going to get a bad number and the market's going to sell off further, especially considering the Fed may be raising interest rates higher come September? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.